The heaviest fighting continues to take place south of Velika Novosilka. Today, the 35th and 137th Ukrainian Mechanized Brigades have finally released images of how they managed to generate such a deep and powerful advance along the hills west of the river. First of all, the Ukrainians launched a massive artillery preparation on the first line of Russian defense along the tree lines. Judging by the footage, it appears that Russian sources did not exaggerate their devastation. Next, the Ukrainians launched a mechanized attack, in which multiple armored fighting vehicles drew the enemy's attention to themselves, suppressed enemy fire and provided cover for infantry. The infantry quickly shortened distances and began to assault what was left of the Russian defensive line. The key was to repeat this process non-stop, and with each iteration, the Russian defense was collapsing faster and faster, as the withdrawal positions did not have the opportunity to be adequately staffed and supported. After the first wave of attacks, the Russians were forced to abandon Neskikny, Storozhiv and Blagodatny. Yesterday we commented that the Ukrainians launched the second wave of attacks here, and that the Ukrainian Deputy Defense Minister confirmed that these attacks resulted in Makarivka's release. Today the 35th and 137th Ukrainian Mechanized Brigades have also released a video of how it happened. As you can see, the attacks were more intense, and the Ukrainians already began using tanks to demolish Russian trenches on the forest lines surrounding the village while infantry stormed the settlement itself. One fighter reported that the Russians were not prepared to face such a powerful attack and abandoned their positions immediately after the Ukrainians entered Makarivka. He also noted that the Russians immediately began using regular and thermobaric aviation and artillery to raise the village by land while the entire Ukrainian assault unit was still in the area. However, he noted that they were prepared for such an event. Their artillery units quickly returned fire and the Russian artillery attack ceased immediately. Yesterday we also commented that Russian forces launched a counterattack in the direction of Makarivka, and I pointed out that it was very likely that this move was made to protect the flanks of the retreating forces from Rivnopil. And this is exactly what happened today. Russian sources reported that their Russian forces carried out at least 3 powerful attacks on Makarivka during the day, forcing the Ukrainians to use their forces here. Such actions relieved the pressure on Rivnopil and allowed Russian troops to repel small Ukrainian attacks, although some of the personnel had departed for the next line of defense. Russian sources reported that, in the meantime, they are actively digging trenches 700 meters south of Makarivka. Simultaneously, Ukrainian forces are destroying Russian troops and reinforcements in the rear. Today Ukrainian sources confirmed that they relocated here the most feared drone detachment, namely the Media Birds Assault Drone Battalion. On the last day alone, the Media Birds destroyed 8 Russian tanks. 4 of those attacks were geolocated, and it was revealed that they destroyed 2 tanks in Staromyorsky and 2 tanks in Zavin Bazhania. The Ukrainians also relocated Omega Special Operations Forces, who also released images of the destruction of Russian tanks in Staromyorsky. Finally, reconnaissance drone detachments of the 55th and 129th Brigades showed how they identified and, in coordination with artillery teams, destroyed at least 4 pieces of equipment in Staromlynivka.